Hi, my name's Eric Sprague, and I am a blue collar success story. And I know what a lot of you guys are thinking, why do I care about a blue collar success story? Well, the reality is that for a lot of you guys, as you end high school and go either to college or find out what you want to do for a living, that can make a big difference in how much money you make and how successful you become and how fast that happens. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want a blue collar job. Well, that's proven statistically. Guys your age and gals, you're not leaning towards the blue collar industries very much, and therefore it's creating an awesome opportunity for anybody who wants to get in it. So let me just take a few minutes and go through some stats and just open your eyes a little bit to what the possibilities of maybe taking on a blue collar career would look like versus maybe some of the things that you've already been thinking about. So let's talk about this real quick. 91% of construction companies in the United States in 2018 reported that they were having much difficulty finding labor. Okay, think about that. That's 9 out of 10 construction companies can't find the people to do the work. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not sure that I want to do that work. Okay, but let's think bigger. Let's think bigger picture than I don't want to swing a hammer. Maybe you do have to swing a hammer for a while, but are there possibilities in that much beyond just swinging a hammer? I know from personal experience there are, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about that. So let's go to the next thing. My manager. I owned a carpet cleaning and water damage restoration business for many years that I recently sold. I had a manager, I've had a couple managers, but I had one in particular. He worked for me for 2 years. He was very good at what he did. He put the time in, learned. At 21 years old, he was making upwards of $85,000 a year. Okay. He did a good job. He made me money, so therefore he was rewarded for doing good work. That's all through the trades. You can make great money at a very young age if you get in there and learn the craft. There's less competition because 9 out of 10 companies can't find anybody to do the work. So somebody who comes who's young and wants to do the work and wants to learn, those companies are generally going to invest in that person because they need people to grow with them, okay? So $160,000 a year. Top tier foreman with a lot of experience in most construction companies, that's about what they make, about $160,000 a year. So that guy's not swinging a hammer anymore. That person is out there doing logistics, running subs, doing profit and loss statements, looking at CAD drawings and blueprints and all this stuff. This is very mental work. So it isn't like you're always going to be digging a ditch. Once you get through that period of learning the craft in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, contracting, you name it, you transcend that and you start to run these things. So it's not always doing manual labor, which I think a lot of people are not that into, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So fewer than 9.4% of people under 25 in the construction industry. Think about that. So it almost mimics this in reverse. So I know how I would think if I was in your shoes. I'm 16, 17, 18 years old, and I'm saying, there's only 10% of my peers, or less than 10%, are going into this trade. So I'm gonna go where the competition to succeed is light. I wanna go where I can go make a difference quickly. And I can go make a difference fast and get trained and have people invest in me, because if 90% of my peers are off doing something else, and I know that there's money in construction or plumbing or HVAC or whatever it may be, I'm gonna go where I don't have so much competition. And I'm gonna really kick butt and move up that ladder really quickly if I'm motivated, okay? So there is opportunity where there aren't people in front of you so much. You know, the baby boomer generation, they're retiring. They were, you know, in a lot of companies, the owners and the top tier managers. People my age, Generation X, have moved into those owner and top tier manager slots. And then there's this huge vacuum below that. So Generation X would be someone 40 to 50 years old, roughly. So there's this huge vacuum beneath Generation X where there's nobody filling those middle manager and lower manager spots. That is a huge opportunity. Most of my peers are going to be retired in 10 or 15 years. Who's going to take those top slots? Maybe you, okay? So here's another big thing. Currently, there's $1.5 billion, with a B, billion dollars in student debt from college. More people go to college now than at on any given time. So what's happening though is when you have that many people going through college, now all of a sudden companies with that are going to hire the people with these college degrees. And look, I'm not against college. I went to college, I went to graduate school. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I'm going to tell my story a little bit and you'll understand why I say there's nothing wrong with that. But to go get trained on the job by these companies who need people so badly, you can walk away and make that great money and also have no student debt. That's going to put you that much closer to starting a family, that much closer to buying a house, that much closer to having a really cool car or traveling or something like that, right? So if you're not saddled with all the student debt, then go get paid to get trained. The blue collar businesses will do that, you know? So in 15 years, this was just in a presidential debate the other night. In 15 years, 40% of all jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence or a robot, some sort of automation, okay? Those jobs tend to be things that are repetitive, that can happen over and over again. You already see it. If you go to an Applebee's, they don't have as much wait staff anymore because you can use a computer screen and order and they just have somebody deliver it to you. Then you can actually just pay through the same thing. That's going to happen all over the place. Every time there's an economic downturn, those automations and production start filling those jobs. That's why they called it a jobless recession at the end, because even though the recession started to end, the jobs were, a lot of them were gone, okay? Here's the good news. It's going to be really hard to replace things that are non-repetitive. Most trades are non-repetitive in nature because every house is different, every building's different, every situation's different. I mean, take my old business, for example, water damage restoration. I did water damage for almost 15 years. No two are ever the same. I don't know how you'd automate that. There will always be people in the water damage restoration business doing that. Plumbing's like that, HVAC's like that, electrical's like that. You know, home stereo installation and IT work is as much like that too. You know, things where, you know, you have to have client interaction and the buildings are different every time. It's hard to lose a job like that to automation. And look, this is going to be bad. They're saying 30 million jobs in the next 15 years, roughly, will be lost. So you have to pick wisely. You know, I know it's a lot of pressure. You guys are young, but you got to pick wisely about what you're going to do in the future. And will that job still exist? I mean, maybe you hold that job for 5 or 10 years, then it gets automated out. Okay, so the trades are really good for job security. And like, this is no joke. Home Depot is investing $50 million a year over the next $50 million over the next 10 years to get young people like you into the trades, doing the trades, and bringing it back to being a good profession, okay? We need tradespeople, women and men. You know, every time you go to the restroom, you can thank a plumber for that. Every time you flick on a light switch, you can thank an electrician for that. Every time you turn on a video game, you can thank the electrician for that. If you're cooling the house or heating the house, you can thank an HVAC guy for that, right? Everything that we do on a daily basis is often made better by a blue collar worker. And that's why I have at the top, a blue collar is a noble collar. The media portrays blue collar trades often in a very negative light. It's turning around. It's starting to get better with shows like Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs, on the DIY channel, Homes on Homes with Mike Holmes showing contracting work. There's starting to be a movement back to the trades, back to blue collar. And you know, it's a great thing. There's lots of people who have done very well in the trades, myself as an example. You know, my life has been enriched by doing trades and helping others. But here's what I wanted to say before. It has not always been that way. I grew up in a very blue-collar town, in a very blue-collar neighborhood with blue-collar parents. And my parents instilled in me, go to college and go work at a desk job. Your life will be better, you'll make more money, you'll be happier, you'll live the American dream. Don't, you know, do this, that, and the other. Okay, so my whole goal as a child was go to college, go get a good job with a white collar and a desk and a tie, probably. So the reality was for me, though, where I grew up, I could only have blue collar jobs in the summer. I was a swimming pool cleaner, a landscape tech, a mason's assistant, an electrician's assistant. I worked construction. I mean, I did a little bit of everything. It wasn't like I didn't like these jobs. I just had been ingrained, go to college, go to college. So I went to college and it was great. I had a great experience, and then I had 10 years to pay the college off. So every month I was writing a big check to this college. It went so well, I got a great job, at a huge insurance company. All my peers thought I had made it. My parents thought I was gonna live the American dream. Got in there, I had to wear a suit and tie every day, and there were 10,000 people in this company within a couple towns. You have never been so anonymous in your whole life. And all the work that I did, was super boring to me. It might not have been to the next person, but to me it was super boring. And I felt like I wasn't making any impact in anyone's life. And I hated sitting at a desk all day and being indoors. I had grown up, I was athletic, I was always outside. In the summer when I'd work my blue collar jobs, I was outside. And I didn't have to stay at any particular job too long. Be half a day at one job, half a day at the next day another 2 jobs. So I actually liked what I was doing, but it had been drummed into my head that these are bad jobs. Anyway, after 18 months of slaving away in a cubicle, I just couldn't do it anymore. I gave my 2 weeks resignation, had no backup plan, and I left school. And left the job, and I went and dug ditches for a year and a half. It's the highest educated ditch digger in the whole company, probably the whole state. And what happened was, did I love digging ditches? No, I don't think anybody loves digging ditches. But as I was digging ditches, I was learning a craft. And I was learning how the guys above me who had been doing this a long time, they were doing really well. They were actually making more money than most of the people at the insurance company, which I didn't realize that at the time. I had always been told, get this white collar job. So all of a sudden I'm going, I can be successful on my own terms. Look, we're not all wired the same. Just because everybody tells you go to college and go get this certain type of job, it doesn't mean it's good for you. There wasn't enough physical output for me at a cubicle job. I needed to move. I needed to be outdoors. So then once I saw that I could be successful in these types of trades, I started working really hard, just like it was college. I treated it like it was my new college. I learned, I asked questions, I got a mentor. I did the things that were gonna move me up that scale. And you know what? I made more money than I ever would have, ever, at the insurance company. And my path to success was much quicker because I had a lot of the same things going on, maybe not to the same degree. It's even better now. I didn't have much competition. If I was halfway sharp and willing to work harder than everybody else, I was going to move up. And I'm into moving up. So next thing you know, I become a field manager. Then I become the operations manager. Then I become the vice president of operations. Then I go out on my own and start my own business. That was my path. I created through this blue collar life, the American dream. And it isn't just me. I know so many people who have done so well in the trade. So my point to you today is don't just think, I don't want to be a loser and go work in the trades. I need to go to college. I need to take this type of job. Look, for you that might be great. And if it is, more power to you. What I'm saying is there's lots of people, male and female, who would do very, very well working in the blue collar trades. And they could really make an impact on people's lives. They could make an impact on their own life. And you're doing society a good. I don't even want to think about what society would be like in 10 or 15 years if these numbers don't change. I like indoor plumbing. I like turning the air conditioner on when I'm hot. If there's nobody to fix this stuff because all the guys my age are too old, what in the world are we going to do? There has to be somebody to do these things. And you can make a fantastic career, not a job, career out of the blue collar trades. So just a little primer. I could talk about this for hours, but I just wanted to plant a bug in your ear that there's more than one way to become successful. And just because society tells you that blue collar jobs aren't as good as white collar jobs, which is the prevailing media way of presenting it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I'm gonna end on this thing. So here you see I wrote skilled versus college. Now there's all these statistics out there that say blue collar jobs income versus white collar jobs income. And the white collar job, college educated, white collar is always higher, okay? But if you dig deeper into a lot of those studies, that's including all blue collar, and all blue collar involves also food service industry. So that's waiters, busboys, like jobs that are very entry level are all under that blue collar domain. When you break that down further versus skilled tradespeople versus college educated white collar workers, those numbers are much, much closer. And not only are they closer, a lot of times the skilled tradespeople make more money, okay? Look, it's not all about money. Money is great. Everybody needs money. Everybody wants to be successful. But there's also the issue of satisfaction. There's a study in, I think it's 2018 as well, interviewed 2,700 blue collar workers. 86% of those workers said that they're satisfied with the work that they do. Find me a job where 86% of the people like what they do. That is very rare. So, anyway, I've beaten this drum long enough. I just wanted to get you thinking about your future and not leave this off the table because there is a lot of opportunity for you guys. Eric with morningtechmeeting.com and Blue Collar Consulting. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks a lot.